Oh my dear, boots are blasting up in your ear. I'm your number one funketeer, giving you the album of the year. Hot diggity dog, hang on like quick straw. Yeah, get down to the raw. Hot diggity dog. It's our constitutional duty to uplift our natural beauty. Moving all around and make it. Giving what you got, you gave it. Now you get your chance to take it. You a winner in your own disguise. Never did you compromise. Well, calm down, don't get upset. Say what? All you need is just a little respect. It's just a dream. It's our theme song, baby girl. I'm a woman. I'm the best that you ever know. Soft like a butterfly. You sing like a bee. You colder than the coldest cold. You ain't got nothing on me. I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking up steel. I'm in the race and I'm ready to kill. We got fries, we got popcorn, shining bright just like the stars. I have no fear. Blue diamonds here, baby. Bootzilla, Baba.
What's up? What's up? What's up? All my true funk soldiers, club funketeers around the world. How you guys doing today? Welcome on this beautiful Saturday. We got another beautiful show with you. I got a very, very special guest for the first time. She's going to be hanging out with us, and we're going to be getting deep on some subjects that definitely need to be talked about. But before we do, don't forget, as always, smash that like button. Give me the thumbs up. We're trying to grow our numbers this year. We want everybody to get funked up and do all the good things in 26 that you want to do. And one of them is making sure you follow Funk from the Front Seat. We're here every Saturday. My producer, Mr. Mark Lee, extraordinaire, the man behind the glass, keeping it funky, keeping it fast, always first, never last, always classy. I love this brother. And we're trying to get all our numbers up. We're here every Saturday. Sometimes we on the rewind, but it's all good because those shows are actually kicking it too. And 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And today our guest actually got up a little bit early. I appreciate her very, very much. Amazon is in the house with us. And before we bring her on, I'm going to set it up a little bit. This woman is going to explain to you some things and, that she's been through and she's willing to share. And, she's definitely all about changing the world and making the world a better place, because we need that. And when I was reading her bio and I got a chance to know her a little bit and I talked to her on the phone, it was like a beautiful thing. So I was really, really appreciative and glad that she came on the show with us. Mark, can you get that picture up? There you go. Thanks. No, I got it. We good, bro. Yes. So we're going to be talking about that, and you can see how beautiful she is. Now, one of the questions, of course, one of the first questions I'm going to ask her will be about the name, but we'll let her explain all of that. If you got a birthday today or anniversary today, or somebody transitioned and they're in a better place. I know last week our brother Terry Holland transitioned out, and we love him very, very much. We know that there's a higher spiritual purpose for everybody in the world. And we also know that we're all connected, So I say, be like the lotus, like Bruce Lee, be like water, and let's just continue to keep the funk alive and make sure that we follow the mantra, funk from the front seat, peace, love, and harmony, because that's what we're all about. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my friend Amazon, proud to call her my funk sister from the West Coast. How you doing, Amazon?
Good morning. How are you?
I am beautiful. A little stopped up, a little stuffy, but I'm okay. How's the West Coast?
It's been raining all week. I'm actually getting over whatever that is that's going around myself. So I'm here sipping a little tea so I don't sound like Kermit the Frog while we're talking.
Right.
And I'm happy to be here.
Cool. What kind of tea you drinking? I'm a tea drinker myself. I'm a tea head.
It's like an echinacea blend, the Breathe Right, Breathe Right blend. Mm-hmm.
Yo, you believe it or not, we was talking off air. I told you I had to stop by the store and get some echinacea, the pills, right? So we on the same page, man. That's beautiful, A lot of people, my first time audience, listeners, for those of you that never followed her and are getting to know her, I'm going to give you a little bit of time just to explain who you are and what you do. But before I do anything, I definitely want to ask you, Punkdemic. Yes. All right, give it to us.
So I came up with Punkdemic during the pandemic.
Oh, actually. Okay.
And I had lost my day job because I worked as a mediator for the court system here.
Right.
And that was one of the first things that got shut down because I worked with the public every day. And so I got sent home. Right. And so I got kind of antsy. I am into music. I'm into all different kinds of music, but I was involved in the punk scene at the time.
Right.
And well, I still am. And we couldn't book any shows or anything because they were closing down all the venues here in California.
Yeah.
And so I was just frustrated, and a lot of people were very anxious, and when they were upset, they would go to these shows and release that energy, and that's how they got to be around their peers and so on. And so there was just this really negative, funky energy, funk in a bad way, not funk in a good way. Right. And I was like, man, this isn't a pandemic, this is a damn punkdemic, and I wrote it down.
Wow.
And it started from there, and the rest, as they say, is history.
No, that's a great name. I'm telling you, it's catchy, and I love it. It's got all the elements of kind of like where you coming from. Are you into punk music? Is that kind of like what you play besides the rock and the funk and the other stuff you do?
Yes. Well, it's part of my history, and that's because I think I brought it into what I'm doing now because it's part of my roots. Like, I was
Right.
one of the only African American, I guess I got to say it correctly, African American, um, women doing what I was doing or being in that scene that I saw at the time when I was like, I had to be about 13 when I got into it.
Correct.
And there
Yeah.
was nobody there that looked like me.
Right.
Nobody.
Right. Right.
Very few. And so it stuck with me. So that's one of my roots. And yes, my other roots are in funk. My dad raised me on it. So
Right. 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 Yeah, that I can tell because when I came across you on Facebook, I was always looking for interesting guests. Scanning for 2026, and I saw you. Right, your picture, you beautiful queen, and then I saw your name, and I was like, "Oh, she's funky." Ain't no doubt about it. You know what I'm saying? You put it right out there, like, listen, this is what I'm about. Boom, boom. And I was like, yeah, I gotta have her on the show.
I
Uh,
appreciate it.
no
And
doubt.
then the name Amazon, I go by that name. I don't usually use my real name. Came about when I was in the music scene. And
Right,
I'm 5'11" on a good day and 6 feet when I don't want to tell people how tall I am, right? And so
right.
they were using that as a way to put me down when I was younger. And I started to learn about Amazon people, Amazon women, and who they were in real
Yeah,
life and in comic books and everything. And I was like, wait a minute. So I embraced it and I made that mine and I made it something positive. And I've been called that since I was a kid. And I stuck to it.
yeah.
I
Good for
stuck
you.
to it.
Good for
Yes.
you. And I'm proud of you for doing that because I'll tell you a little sidebar. When I was a kid, they used to always call me peasy head and nappy head. They said, "Man, you're just a nappy head. Look at your little peasy head. You got them peas in the back of your head, and this and that, nappy head." And they called me that for years, right? And that's why I named my band the Nappy Head Folk Army because I took it and flipped it. So I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I was reading a little bit about your bio and woman, mother, daughter,
Yes.
and I'm glad that when you sent it to me, it first of all is very well done, and I was like, it had all the elements of a powerful, successful, woman of color, making the way and setting the bar high as well as opening the doors for others, right? And before we get into your story, I just want to say, tell us a little bit about like your journey and to where it led up to now, where you now are opening doors for others and doing your thing.
Gosh. So sheesh. So I did. I ran around with a lot of bands when I was
Hmm.
younger.
Right.
Loved going to live music, and I was fortunate that my mom allowed me to do so. I had a curfew. I was one of the only youngsters that actually had a curfew and had to be in at a certain time, and wasn't on drugs and all the things that a lot of teenagers were getting into. I'm fortunate that I dodged that bullet, and that's only because I saw the other side of that from my upbringing. And I said, well, that's not for me, right? So I stayed on the straight and narrow as far as that goes. But I got to meet a lot of people, got exposed to a lot of different kinds of music, got into reggae. Reggae was huge for me because, as you know, if you are a reggae listener, you'll understand that that's also a rebellious music. Reggae music is a rebel music too, just like punk, right? So I got into all these different kinds of music. Fast forward, I ended up having children young. I was a mom by 20. I had my first child at 20. And I was still pulled towards music, but my priority was the kids. So I dabbled in between. Like whenever I had any downtime, I would work on writing things down. I just tried to keep in touch with my creativity while raising these children. And that was a mess. Like that was difficult. That was hard because I had daughters, mostly daughters, one son. And so trying to set an example while still being myself, right? And balancing that out. And then I moved my kids like way out of nowhere to a town called Pomona.
Oh yeah.
Um, but there's not, it's not out of nowhere. But it was, if you were from like the city, you were like, what's Pomona? And I'm raising my kids. And one day this guy knocks on my door and goes, hey, I'm from this organization called the Pirate Punks. and we do backyard shows. And you have the coolest backyard ever. Could we do a show in your yard? And I said, sure.
Yeah.
So next thing I know, my yard is a whole venue. I'm a member. I've joined up and I'm doing punk and metal shows in my backyard. And that went on for a while. We had a stage, we had a bar, we had merchandise. It was wild. So my kids would be inside and I'd be doing music in the back.
Wow.
And so music kind of found me again.
It always will. It always will.
Right? It just found me.
Always will.
And I just got back into it after that.
Right,
and
right,
just
right.
went from there as far as music goes. And I did promotions for reggae shows. I was blessed to be a part of some pretty big names as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Rock. I love all kinds of music, but I love anything black.
Yeah.
Anything black. And if you're truly into music, you'll know that we have our hand in all of that.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Yeah. We invented everything.
Yes. And I believe that to be true. And
It's being real.
If I'm offensive, it's offensive. I can't help you there. It's not my fault. It's true, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I got into doing that kind of stuff. At one point, I wanted to be an attorney, not to put people in, but to get them out.
Right.
And it was just too difficult with the kids and everything. It became kind of overwhelming. And so I ended up getting into mediation. So I ended up in the court system still, but just as a mediator.
Right, right.
And I did that until the pandemic hit. And I had to go home. They're like, you're in contact with like hundreds of people a day. You got to go home. You can't do this right now. Yeah. And so that's how I ended up home, frustrated, not doing music, not doing anything. And that's where Punkdemic came from. It came from the pandemic and the frustration I was feeling about not being able to have shows, go to shows. And so, yeah, I was sitting there and I was upset one day and I was like, man, this is a punkdemic. It's not a pandemic, you know? And I wrote the name down and it just clicked in my head. And It literally just started from the name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, you and we're hanging out today with Amazon. You know, she's definitely, you know, on my list of people very, very high up as far as what she does. And she is the founder. And, you know, she's a content creator and she's the founder of this organization, you know, Punkdemic. And you guys need to really, really check that out. You can find it on the bottom of the screen, you know, and we're welcome and blessed to have her, my producer, Mr. Mark Lee, and I. And again, a real quick side note, that's how this show started, because I was stuck in the house, couldn't communicate. And one day I said something online and somebody said, hey, you should say that. And then, you know, a couple of weeks later, I said it again. They said, hey, you should say that, because I was cracking on the COVID being locked down thing. And all of a sudden I said, you know what, maybe this is what my calling could be. And then I got with Mark and called a few other people and voila, you know. So it's funny how some good things did come out of COVID, because it forced us to take alternative creative routes that we probably would have, you know, delayed on. You know, they were still there, but maybe we would have delayed because we're busy doing other stuff. So that's really, really, really cool. I'm so glad that you gave us some content on that, because a lot of my listeners, when they see you for the first time, and of course you're going to be back many, many times now, but you know, they'll have a really good idea of what you do. Are you native Californian? Are you always have?
I am. My family was like Southern, you know, they're from I think Texas, Georgia, but they're all here in California. So I was raised partially by my grandmother, who was Southern Baptist. So, you know, I had that whole upbringing.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, once I started the name, I started putting it on clothing. So I started a clothing brand.
Right.
Before I started doing the other stuff that I do now. It's interesting how stuff just kind of progresses on its own if you let it, right?
Yeah. You know, merchandise and marketing is really, really more a part of the business now than the nuts and bolts of, say, the track and the band part, because that's kind of like where we are in society. And I know as an artist, I'm currently, you know, in the process. I'm always looking for people to help with that aspect of what I do, because some people are just geared and cut out for that, and some are not. You know what I mean? Because you have what I call the I Hoyt. from the movie, you know what I mean? So,
Yes.
like, you know what I mean? You're like, Hoyt, got the magic eye, Hoyt, you know? And people that have that, I always like try to be around them and talk to them and network with them because that's a huge part of everything now. You know, merch and how you're putting it out and you know that kind of thing. So, you know, we'll talk offline about some things too. But
Absolutely. I love design. All the designs on the clothing are mine.
yeah,
I sketch them. What I did was I sketched them and then I went to somebody who was able to make them digital for me.
right.
And then, if I didn't like exactly how it looked, we went back and forth and we perfected it. But they all started out as ideas in my head and
Yeah,
sketches.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
if you have you noticed the lettering of the
Yes,
name Punkdemic? Did you
yes,
notice how I wrote it?
yes.
Do you know where I got it from?
I want to say,
You
like for
can.
me, it kind of the P looks like the Prince thing, but I'm not sure. But I
100%.
right? Okay,
I'm a Gemini also, and
okay,
that was my favorite album.
okay. I was gonna say because that I didn't want to say it on air if I, but since you put it out there, I was like, yeah, that's from something that I recognize. So kudos to you for keeping that
Yes.
alive.
Well, I did it on purpose because um from a marketing standpoint, that was one of the most noticeable to me. Um, how do you call it? The way he wrote it, the font was
Yes,
so you can
yes,
see that on a shirt anywhere, and you go, "That's from that album." So I did it on purpose. I was
yeah.
like, you know what?
Good
I
for
want
you.
something that people will recognize, and they look at it, they go, "That looks like something else," and I said, "That's
Yes,
what I want."
yeah, and it triggers the brain. See that's the little secret. See, that's the magic eye, Hoy. You got that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's definitely the magic eye, man. Yeah, that branding back then was definitely kind of like ahead of its time for what that man was doing, and you know we could have a whole nother show about him, but it was really cool because he was such I want to say way ahead with digital creation, with selling music digitally, with the virtual reality, all of that stuff, you know. And when I look back, and I'm a huge big Prince fan, I use elements of Prince, P Funk, Boosie, and you know, Chili Peppers and all that in my music, right? But Prince, I'm able to channel him sometime between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning, and he brings me ideas, tells me what songs I should play, opening up this and that, and I put a few in my unit. But you know, when you started designing your clothing, did you have a specific goal in mind to link it to domestic violence, or were you just designing it because you knew you had something that was hot and you had to get the product out?
I just wanted to get it out, but I also wanted a brand that was black. I wanted a pro-black brand.
Right, right,
One of my first designs is says Black Punk Lives Matter on it.
right,
And
right. Okay.
I got into trouble with Meta because of the phrase Black Lives Matter. They wouldn't let me put my shirts up. So then I made one that said Brown Punk Lives Matter, and I was able to get that one out
Wow.
there.
Very
Um,
smart.
yeah, I went around it, but I wanted it to show that there's this idea that rock is a white thing. There's this idea that being well spoken is a white thing, that being
Amen.
successful is a white thing. And I said,
Right.
well, no. So I branded it. I made it, I had it all done legally. It's a legal LLC. I hired a business lawyer to lock it in so no one could steal it. Like I really went through point A to point B, excuse me, so that it was done correctly. And that was just to set an example as to say, this isn't just something I came up with. This is a legitimate business. It is black owned. It is black woman owned. And I'm going to take over. I'm going to do rock and roll too. How about that?
Yeah,
And that's
there
what
you
I
go.
did.
That's what's up. See? And that's what I love about talking to you when we had our private conversations, because I can tell your energy is so off the charts, out the box. And see, I only want to deal with people outside of the box only because we already know what's inside of the box, you know. Um, yeah, Mark just sent me a message. I don't know what that is, but I'll get a chance to read it. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. So when you got your merchandise up and running, and
Yes.
you said it. You got your standard set, and you did all your legal stuff, right?
Yes.
On the other side, we'll talk about a little bit more about your story, your personal story. But for people that want to find your stuff besides the link I have there, where else can they find it?
It's actually, you have it up as punkdemic.net, which was my previous.
Okay.
It's okay because it still will take you. It's actually on punkdemic.com.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, okay, I got you.
And that's fine. Yeah. And then also it's we're on Instagram, the Punkdemic. But yeah, the main source would be punkdemic.com. We also just launched a YouTube channel.
Right.
To go along with the podcasting that we do as well.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been a ride. It's been an adventure.
Yeah.
Just being creative, right, doesn't necessarily mean that all that creativity is sitting in my bank account just yet. You got to start somewhere. So, by all means, go on and support and check out the merchandise and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So now you guys know, because it's actually upnow.com. You can check it out. Go check out her merchandise and support, because when you hear her story, you're definitely going to be moved by it. It's amazing. I know we talked a little bit about it. And right now, I'm going to smash a few commercials, so you hang tight. We're going to be back on the other side with my good friend, my funk sister, entrepreneur, Black woman extraordinaire, beautiful queen, mother, father, and all of that good stuff. I mean, mother and daughter and woman. And all of that good stuff, So y'all hang tight. For my audience out there, appreciate you guys. And don't forget, always smash that like button. So we're going to run a few spots and, talk to a few people. And you hang tight, and we'll be right back. Hey. What's up? All my true funk soldiers, club funketeers around the world. This is your host of Funk from the Front Seat, number 9 right here. Come to you from the funk universe that I live in. Check this out, man. Smash that like button for Funk from the Front Seat, and please subscribe. We're on every Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. West Coast time. Don't forget, man, Funk from the Front Seat, 9 on the Grind TV. Smash that like button and please subscribe, man. We need it all to come together. Peace, love, and harmony, y'all.
It's Peppermint Patty. Hello to everyone, all of our club funketeers all around the world. I want to say this to you. You're watching FFTFS on 9 on the Grind TV every Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern to 9 a.m. Pacific. Oh my goodness, what a wonderful show it is. And it's with our club funketeer, Zach, on the 9. Zach is the vice president of the Club Funketeers. So we lift him up every day, and we thank him for keeping the funk alive. All right, go ahead. Let's do it, number 9. Peppermint Patty.
Hey, y'all. Linda Shiner here, talking about my brother from another mother, Zach Robertson's Funkin' from the Front Seat podcast. It's Saturday afternoons, 12 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock on the West Coast, and 10 and 11 in between. We talk about, I'm on there sometime, we talk about politics, music, of course, what's going on in the world, and whatever kind of floats our boat that day. So y'all check it out. Like I said, Funkin' from the Front Seat, Zach Robertson's podcast, Saturday afternoons, 12 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock West. Peace.
What up, everybody? This is Kevin from the Kevin Harrington Experiment, and you're watching Funk from the Front Seat with my brother, Zach, Funky number 9 Robertson. If you didn't know, now you know.
What's up, Royal Funk fans? This is Lisa Love, a.k.a. Alpha Unk Omega, coming to you from Love's Temple here in Southern California, inviting you to 9 on the Grind, Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robinson. This is what I want you to do for me. Tune in every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Come join the meeting of minds. I guarantee soul's growth and high vibrations, not to mention the love. Keep it funky, y'all.
Hey, this is Jen Vanderputten, writer of Code and Prose. You are watching Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Roberson. Tune in every Saturday at noon for excellent and important conversation.
Hey, this is Keith Jackson with P-Funk Radio, inviting you to check out my brother Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat. Saturdays, 12 noon on the East Coast and 9 a.m. on the West Coast. It all happens on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube. Great guest, great conversation each and every Saturday. That's Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robinson on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Check him out.
Hey fam, what's goody good? What's really good? My name is Jeff Roberson from the gospel group called Jeff Roberson and New Life. And I'm coming to you from the town that we had to name it twice. It's so nice. New York, New York. And I'm bringing you some news about my brother from another mother, brother Zach, who's bringing you his hot new show called Funk from the Front Seat. Listen, he's bringing you funk from the vault, from the past, from the present, and into the future. He's got that music that makes the hair on the back of your neck rise up. He's bringing you funk all the way down to your toes. This is that funk that makes you really want to groove. Stay tuned. Don't touch that dial as he brings you funk from the front seat. Listen, let's go.
And don't forget, each and every Saturday we're here. Smash that like button. Please subscribe. We're trying to get our numbers up. We're back on the other side with my amazing, beautiful guest today. I'm so excited when I get people on from the West Coast and they actually come on. I be like so happy. So thank you, okay, Amazon. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I want to hear some more about Funk from the Front Seat. I love that.
Yeah, and that's why, you know what? I can definitely pop on your show and we can do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's catchy. I like it. Very catchy.
Yeah. It actually, Mark and I tell you, Mark, wait, pop on Mark, and just please, really quick, before we get into the serious topic of domestic violence, please let our guests know how and where I used to do the show from. You back there? There you is.
I am back here. Definitely, as I can say, you used to do the show literally from your car and everything like that. So it started off as a show from the car, and he'd be in his car as he was going around and all along those lines. And it was started during the pandemic as well. So it was literally funk from the front seat because he would have all these great funky guests and all this great conversation. But it was started as he was driving around and all along those lines. Hence the name.
Wow.
Yeah. Right.
Wow. So that literally you were in the front seat.
Yeah, if you go back on YouTube and you look at our first season and a half, I was literally doing it from my car.
See, that's dedication right there.
Yes, and believe me, some days if it was rainy and cloudy, we would experiencing. See, Mark is a genius because through the first year and a half, you know, you got your bumps, whatever, right? But we were experiencing cloudy days. I would have to go to certain spots, and sometimes the guests, you know, it wouldn't work right. The links, it was just fun. When I look back, I was always so worried, so I'm a worrywart. But I was like, I look back now and I laugh at some of those shows because they were good shows, but they were just so erratic because we were all
erratic and they would definitely had their moments and everything.
It was fun.
You might even want to tell Amazon about how sometimes there would be strange guests that might pop up that were not part of the show.
So sometimes you have funk in the backseat, sound like.
Yeah. I used to have people walking up to the car, right?
Oh my gosh.
Trying to talk to me. A cop once in security where I was at, right?
Oh, no.
And I roll out the window. I was like, yo, we live on the air, like right now. You know, he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm doing my podcast because he can hear the music blasting, right? So I used to start out blasting music. Yeah. So that's a little bit of our origin, but we'll save that when I come on your thing and we'll talk about that, man. And I'm telling you, this is true, man. Thank God Mark is there because he's always so cool and calm. And I'm not really a worrywart. I'm just like anal. And Mark is always so cool and calm, and he makes me cool and calm, you know. So, because I'm an Aries, I think I told you that. So I'm constantly like, yeah, you know how we are.
Yes, I do.
We can't help ourselves. So, Mark, I'll bring you back in a little bit, man, so you can dig up on what we're talking about.
No
All right,
problem.
thank you,
Glad
bro.
to
I
do that.
appreciate it. So let's get into the crux of your journey when it comes to domestic violence, and I'm going to let you just tell your story how you need to tell it. And for those of you watching, please listen very carefully. This is very, very extremely important, and also a passion of this beautiful queen we have here, Amazon. So, I know you've been through it, and just say what you want, things you want to leave out. That's fine. No pressure here. So just tell us a little bit about where that goes and where it started from.
Jeez. So I guess we'll talk about the shirt I'm wearing in the picture.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's a hoodie I designed. It says domestic violence on the top, and underneath there's a tree trunk, kind of, and it shows the roots of the tree under the ground. And under the ground, I attach certain words to the roots like shame and fear and things like that, because when somebody thinks of domestic violence, they just think of some guy slapping some woman around the room, right? To put it bluntly. And there's so many other things that contribute to what is domestic violence. Domestic violence is not a gender thing, by the way. There are men that have been through domestic violence situations. But anyhow, for whatever reason, that's how I am. I'll go to sleep, wake up, and you mentioned 3 to 5 in the morning. That's the creative hours, right? Um, and I was like, I want to put something out and I want to talk about it, right? So, I'm 19. I'm expecting my first child. I am in love because I'm 19. And I'm not in a good situation, right? I'm in an abusive situation. I'm in a very unhealthy, toxic situation. Um, and my partner was a drug user. I was not into drugs at any point, which I mentioned to you. There was just so much going on. And I ended up leaving the situation because I was pregnant with my first child. Honestly, I probably would have stuck around longer if I wasn't expecting. I think that the fact that I was expecting this beautiful child is what pushed me to get out of there. So I left and I ended up in a shelter in, I believe it was the Redondo Beach area. It was a hidden shelter. I wasn't allowed to call anyone. No one was allowed to know where I was located. It was very locked down, low key. And I was in a place with other women that were way worse shape than I was. But part of the program was to sit through counseling and hear other people's stories. Um, so I heard some things that really opened my eyes and made me go, okay, I really can never go back to this situation. And they provided things like counseling. And so, I paid attention, but I was the only one in the place that was expecting, and it was very uncomfortable there for me. I think it was like a bunk bed. It just was uncomfortable physically for me. And that's how I ended up in the shelter, Casa de los Angelitos, which was a shelter here in Southern California for women that were expecting. And so I ended up there. And that's kind of where my story took a turn and improved itself. But anyhow, yeah, from that experience, I learned from the counselors that there were all these different things that people do that's classified as domestic violence. Um, Not just physical violence. There's the mental abuse. There's financial abuse. There's all these different aspects that go into it that people are not aware of because a lot of people don't want to talk about it. So I'm fortunate that I wasn't in that situation that long, but I will say that because I came from a history of childhood abuse, I did not recognize
Oh man, so
when the
sorry.
things were happening to me that it was abuse, right? Because if you come up in certain things, you think that's normal, right? So yeah, fast forward, I get to this place. It's not only a domestic violence shelter. It's just a home where other women live that are expecting, that are unmarried. that are just trying to get themselves together, and you can stay there until your child is between like 3 and 6 months. So they offer you fellowship. They offer you some counseling. You're in a nice place. You're able to save your money, whatever money you have, and kind of helps you to get set up for your future, what you're going to do next.
Correct. Yeah.
So, yeah, I ended up there, and that was kind of the beginning of my story.
Right.
I had my first child there when I was 20. From there, I went to my first apartment, and yeah, that's kind of how I started. And so when I started this company, again, financially, still getting there, right?
Right. Right.
But I'm making a name for myself, and I wanted them to know where I came from. This is a part of who I am. I'm not ashamed of it. It helped to mold me into the person I am now.
Right.
Um, People still will call me for different advice about what to do. Hey, I'm in this situation. Where can I go? I try to like stay on top of resources and things like that. And I do have some experience in law only because of working as a mediator in the court system. I was able to see, how it works. I was able to learn of certain programs that can be beneficial to people. Um, I just said to myself, I wanted to start this company to help others and myself, empower myself, and to also show people that you can come from humble beginnings and become something. I'm not where I want to be just yet, but I'm on my way.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? That is such a powerful story and such a display of courage and strength by you. And again, I applaud what I know to be real when it comes to courage and strength. And being a black woman in this culture, especially in this day and age, and trying to deal with the things that you dealt with, and you still, you know, are an amazing entrepreneur and got your own branding, and that's something that other young women and men of all races, creeds, colors, all genders, doesn't matter, can grab onto that. And I was
Yes.
thinking as you telling me this story, sweetie, like the universe kind of lets you get a little dabble in the law and get a little dabble in this and that before it iron sharpen the iron for you to go full on in on what's happening with domestic violence. And I'm glad you said that men suffer the same thing, not as much, but also can suffer from it, you know. Now, let me ask
Yes.
you a question, and I kind of think this way, but I want your opinion. And today, we're hanging out with Amazon, and she is the founder and of Punkdemic, and it's an amazing clothing brand, high scale apparel, and amazing stuff. And we're gonna talk to you a little bit more and a little bit about Johnny Taylor. But do you think that verbal abuse categorized in that category as that domestic violence thing?
100%. Which I didn't know until I got into therapy and counseling and things like that. They don't have to physically touch you to hurt you. You don't have to physically touch someone to demean them. You don't have to physically touch them to control them.
Right,
So,
right.
yes, violence is not necessarily just physical.
Yeah. I know a lot of men sometimes, you see that something ain't right and they're going through something, but they don't really want to talk about it, and I think that as tough as it may be, like I don't mind, and Mark will tell you on this show, we openly talk about therapy, and I don't mind telling people that, I actually see a therapist for a lot of different reasons, but I think that, everybody, should if they can. Real quick, Mark, it's in the Mian Bryant, Trey Rochelle, Lisa Love folder. I got it at the bottom, but I put it up. Thank you, because I wanted to put up. Amazon, I wanted to put up your IG stuff, so that's why I got that on the bottom as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. But when you thought about the clothing aspect and putting it together to bring more attention to it, right? Did you get any pushback?
No, I didn't. I got some support, which was good. The intention for the shirt is that the proceeds of anyone who purchases the domestic violence shirt,
Right.
once a year, I'll give those funds to an organization of my choice, which I've been doing. I actually went.
Wow.
I
Wow.
went. I gave back to the shelter that I lived in when I was 19.
Wow.
Yeah, I was looking around and I was trying to, contact different organizations, and you never really know like where your money's going to go when you give things to people. And so I'm just trying to do my homework, and then something popped in my head like, hey, I wonder if they're still there. And they were 20 something years later, it was still up and running. And so I
Yes.
called them and I go, hey, I used to live there in your shelter, in your place. And this is what I'm doing now. And can I please donate to the ladies that are living there? And they said, sure.
Right.
And so,
Right.
yeah, I went back and I gave to that place that I lived in.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
s-
That's
so, yeah.
excuse me. That's got me choked up. That's powerful. Again, I can't fathom what you probably went through, but iron sharpens iron, and what the things that you were dealing with, the universe was just getting you ready for the task at hand. Because I'm sure there are so many people out there that are grateful to you just because of who you are and what you did. So do you ever like venture towards Midwest or the East Coast, or anything like that when it comes to organizations about domestic violence? Do you reach out to other organizations, or are you exclusively working that area and then just letting the internet do the work?
No, I haven't been like super active with getting with other domestic violence organizations.
Hmm.
Um, I just put it out there so that if someone were to see it, they would know, number one, that it's a safe space that they can reach out to me,
Yeah.
which has happened. I met someone wearing the shirt who I got in an elevator and she looked at it and she looked at me and she said, I'm going through that right now, and just told me her whole story.
Oh man.
So it's not the focus of the brand per se, but it is a part again of who I am, a part of how I got here. And
Yeah.
so I just wanted people to know, hey, I'm supporting you. This is a safe space. I had a gentleman come forward and actually share his story with me. So yeah, I just one of the the main motto for Punkdemic when I started it was it says refuse to be put in a box.
Yes, I saw that. I wrote that down.
Yes. um so I just wanted people to know, hey, I've been through it. I know what it's like.
Yeah.
Please reach out if you need some resources. But I have done some musical stuff over on the East Coast.
Okay, that's what's up.
Mhm.
That's what's up. We got to get together and do that. One of the things when I was reading the information and reading your bio, and again today we're hanging out Funk from the Front Seat, not on the grind TV. 12 p.m. every Saturday, 9 a.m. on the West Coast. We're hanging out with my very special guest today, Amazon, and she is the founder of Punkdemic, and her story is amazing. And I know you guys are going to dig up on it, so I ain't even worried about that. But you mentioned, promoting love, inclusion, acceptance, driving social change. Now, those four words are a very powerful phrase, and you embody that. I think all of that and then some, right? And then you said you kind of look at it from a skateboard hip hop kind of swagger and drip with the clothing, right? So
Yes,
it seems like you hit right the trifecta right at the right time, because I'm telling you, sweetie, the world needs this now. You
I
know,
think so. I
and
think so.
and let me ask you this: during the
Sure.
pandemic, it was recorded that domestic violence went up. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes. Well, and that's the thing. The name came from the fact that a lot of people would go to different, even whatever, a jazz club, a bar, whatever, to socialize and to vent and get off their aggression and get out their feelings and just to socialize. And during the pandemic, we were locked in. So you couldn't go and vent. You had to stay home. So
Yeah.
maybe the person that would normally just get mad, hop in the car and go
Yeah.
to the local
Right.
bar and have a few drinks or go see some live music was unable to do that. So it's
Yeah.
like a pressure cooker and
Yeah.
nobody could get out of that pot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just like when they say it goes up during the Super Bowl. Did you know that?
Yes. No. 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 For real.
Yes.
Educate me. I
During the
didn't know
Super
that.
Bowl, you can Google it. That there's more domestic violence cases pop up during the Super Bowl, and it's just anger, stress, aggression, and all of that stuff coming out. So yes, 100%. There was more suicides during the pandemic,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
because we were not able to get together and socialize, and that's how we function as human beings, is by getting together and discussing what's going on with us, and it kind of cut us off, you
Yeah.
know, at
Yeah.
the knees during that time.
You're right. You want to hear something weird? The other day, I'm always scanning for stories. I saw a story, and I don't know if it was in Texas or Arkansas. A dude killed his family over the 49ers game.
Yeah,
You
I
saw
believe
that,
it.
right?
I
You read?
believe it. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I saw it. I didn't go into detail with it, but yeah,
Yeah,
I did see
I
it.
didn't want to, but I had to because I was like, wait, a football game? Are you kidding me?
Yes.
You know, yeah, that's crazy. They said he did it, and then he was did it, and then he his daughter and his wife and not his real son, but the other two people. And I was like, and then he went somewhere else and did himself, and I was like, over football?
Yes.
But
If
he
you're
has
not in a good, go ahead.
no. I was just gonna say he has some other stuff going on, but the dude. I didn't even want to laugh at it because it's not funny at all. But he said somebody did this over football, and I was like, "This is where we are now. We're in this era of, you know, we know about Trumpism and all this other stuff, so that's bad. And you tell me if I'm wrong. The emotional stress we're under day by day by day because of this nonsense. I think people are just like completely flipping out. You know?
That and I believe that we're desensitized. I think they expose us to
Yeah.
constant drama, to constant violence, to constant I hate to use the term tomfoolery, that
Yeah.
now we don't even bat an eye when we see things like the man flipped out over the Super Bowl and
Yeah.
killed his wife. Like we
Yeah.
see stuff like that on a regular basis. They expose us to those things
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you don't think it gets into your subconscious, you're 100% wrong because
Absolutely.
it does.
Thank you for saying that. And you know what? I just had the amazing deja vu that we were doing this, and you just said what you said. So, but those things happen. You'll get to know me and all orbs and deja vus. And when I'm doing shows, I was like, yeah, we just talked about this. So that tells me the universe is watching very carefully.
It is 100%. It
Yeah,
is.
man. Yeah, I love it when that happens too. Well, I can tell you, every now and then I'll be like, yeah, we just talked about this. So, and getting back to what you said about, going up during the Super Bowl, that surprises me only because, but now I'm not surprised at the violent part, but it surprises me only because I would think that since so many women watch sports, especially that day and the game and everything else, and so many kids are around, it would kind of be more peaceful. But now that you mention it, I can see alcohol and drugs involved.
Out drinking
Anger.
and
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
getting
People
angry.
losing.
Yeah. But I will say this, I don't believe that there's some regular Joe Schmo that all of a sudden just loses it because the game is on. I think that is the catalyst, but that's
Yes,
who that
yes,
person was
yes, yes.
already,
Yeah, I
right?
agree. I agree. I agree. And it's sad because that particular story, it happened like right. And I don't do Christmas, but it happened then, you know. And the little town that it was in, the sheriff, you could tell he didn't even want to really talk about it because he was holding back tears, And the way he worded everything, he went into so much detail. I had to watch because I just prayed to the universe that some type of program like yours, was available to help whoever was left, because
Yeah,
it was only the one kid that was left. His
that's
father was gone,
sad.
his sister and his mother all gone. So what about this kid now? You know what I'm saying? this young man that has to deal with this, you know. So my God, yeah, and yeah, I just thought about that, but let me get back on track. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about um, the gentleman Johnny Taylor, and you could
Yes.
kind of tell us his story a little bit, because I think his story is worthwhile. It's notable when it comes to what we're talking about now. So give us a little info on that, brother.
So that's another instance of the universe working in my favor, because he's found me kind of how you found me, and just started talking to me, right?
Right.
And it's interesting how, when I always say, to treat people well, because you never know who you're talking to.
That's right.
And I didn't know that, Johnny Taylor ended up having a history working for Universal Records. I didn't know he was an artist himself, a business owner. He just took interest in what I was doing, and I was able to convince him to hop on board and start helping me. But he's been in the hip hop industry for quite some time. He's got his own albums out. He's got his own label. He's worked and has a really extensive catalog of really great artists that he's got some collaborations with. But he's also very techie. He can build websites. He does the production for my podcast, the Punkdemic podcast.
Right, right.
Um, and we link up, and we've got this whole opposites attract kind of dynamic. I'm also involved in love hip hop as well, but
Right.
that's his thing, right? And so when we get together to work together, we are able to combine our different viewpoints and our different insights on things. And
Yeah.
so it just makes for a fun time, right? He's a really good writer. He's a talented guy, and he does all the stuff. So I'm very fortunate to have him, just like you love Mark. I am just fortunate to have Johnny Taylor there with me. But I didn't know that he knew all of those things or did all of those things
Right,
when we
right,
met.
right,
I had no idea. I
right,
just
right.
was having a conversation, and now he is my business partner,
Yeah,
and I'm fortunate, right? I'm really, really lucky.
yeah.
Really, really lucky.
Believe me, you're going to be hearing from me for sure, because you know, every time a door opens up and I'm able to collaborate with someone else, it expands my mindset about, why I'm in this business in the first place. Because, like positive energy attracts positive energy. And I'll do anything. We here at Funk from the Front Seat, anything we can to enhance what you do and help you in any kind of way. So I'm really excited. I know Mark is really excited, and we're blessed to have you on. I'm going to bring Mark in for a minute. Mark, I'm not sure what you may want to vibe on, but please pop in and join us. He's back there now, scratching at the glass. There he
I'll
is.
gladly do that. Like I said, I was enjoying the conversation and all that y'all had going on and all along those lines. But I was definitely impressed by what Amazon's got going on in her life and everything like that. And ironically, we had found out that we had found the same Instagram post and all along those lines, because that was the post that I was talking about, which is about the young lady that was a precursor, and it was a sister to the famous doll of Barbie, and that was Jackie Orms, who not only penned cartoon strips in the 40s and 50s, but designed a black doll called the Patty Joe doll, which was released in 1947, and Barbie came up in 1959. And ironically, we had found that same information and all along
Hmm.
those lines. But one of the
Yeah,
things that was
stolen.
but one of the things that was mentioned in that was that Patty Joe apparently in one of the cartoon strips asked a white woman, "How about getting our rich Uncle Sam to put good public schools all over so we can be trained fit for any college?" So I guess the question I have for you, Amazon, is how important do you think it is for artists to use their platform, whether it's music or fashion, to deal with these social issues?
It's imperative. You can't. So the thing with social media is that you know that everybody's watching. And I think that in some senses, people are afraid to say their point of view um, for certain things. Like, you might have a job that, if they go on your social media and see some of your viewpoints, it can affect your work or whatever. same thing with me. I was working in a courthouse, right? So I couldn't have done what I'm doing now if I was still doing that. I probably wouldn't have my job, right? Um, but I believe it's imperative to use your platform to make a change, to do something good for someone else. And when I decided to make Punkdemic an LLC, that was my goal, was like, of course, obviously I want to make money for myself and my family, but I also want to have the funds and the resources to do stuff for others. You can't do things for other people if you don't have anything, right? But for me, the influencers and artists, I hate to say this out loud, but I don't care. If you're not on there and using your influence and your finances to help someone else, and not even that, to help someone else of color, I'm putting it out there as well. I can't rock with you. I can't be a fan of you. I'm not gonna ask you to be on my podcast. I'm not gonna interview you. Like, you have to be doing something else for others for me to be interested in you as a person. Period. So yes, very important. It's important
That makes
to
sense.
use that. Yes.
I agree. I think, especially with social media today, we can reach, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, thousands of people where we couldn't really do that before in the masses that and the quantities that we do it. So I,
No,
I
no
don't like
doubt.
to see it when social media is used for the wrong thing. It drives me nuts, man. It
No,
really
no,
does.
no doubt about that and everything. Just really quickly, I was impressed, and I know Zach knows that I'm a fan of lots of different styles of music, not just funk, but blues and a number of other things. And I saw that you had two artists that I was really impressed that you were able to get them. And I've been impressed with some of the artists that Zach's been able to get as well. But I saw that you had the chance to interview one of the members of Fishbone and one of the members of Living Color. So what was that like, and how were you able to get that?
You know what? One of my first, Corey Glover was one of my first guests, and he was the most fun ever. Like, you never know when you're approaching people if they're going to be, superstars or people with you, right? And he was just a person. He wasn't too big or too important to talk to me. I actually knew someone that worked with him professionally in the music industry, and he went to him and said, "Hey, you ever heard of Punkdemic?" And he said, "Actually, I have." And I said,
Yeah,
"What?" And so I was able just to approach him and say, "Hey, would you mind coming on and having a chat with me?"
yeah,
And he did. And it was the most fun. I mean, we cut up on that episode like nobody's business. Johnny Taylor is a robust woman fan. Like, if she's a round woman, he in love with her. And so him and Corey actually went back and forth with that whole thing on there. I think he enjoyed the fact that I knew a little bit about his history outside of just music. And it was fantastic. I am fortunate. That's all I can say. And then Norwood, same thing. He was down to earth. He was a person that was approachable. And one of the clips I put up, he was just basically saying, like, "I'm really glad for what you're doing. I wish more people were doing this, out there in the community." I had Norwood do a Bootsy Collins impression,
Mm,
which was awesome, right? First of all, I didn't think he was going to do it, but he did.
right,
Um, it, I was fortunate. I also had on Dirty Walt, who was also a member of Fishbone.
right.
Um, and God, I think he's been on twice. Another person that just was able to, I was able to approach and just talk with, who was down to earth
Yeah,
and was in support of a woman that they call us people of color now. I don't know what that means. A
yeah. Me
woman of
neither.
color doing what you do, doing what I do, and was very supportive.
Yeah,
So I approached them um, in my way. I don't have like a standard thing that I say to everybody. And I just talk to them like people and go, "Hey, I'm a fan of what you do, or I find you very interesting. Would you mind giving me an hour of your time?" And I've been fortunate to have a lot of people say, "Sure." And so I don't know, luck,
mm.
a little bit of
yeah.
luck.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, it's cool that you mentioned that because that's what we try to do here on this show. We wanted to be like, hey, we just sitting around the living room,
Right.
just relaxing and just chatting about life. One of the things that a lot of my guests are, now that some guests that have a bit of a history doing whatever it is they do, have become authors. And I wanted to first congratulate Mark because he's actually in a book and he's an author. So thank you, Mark. I always have to mention that from time to time and plug you.
that's
Uh, yeah,
wonderful.
he's published. But do you see any type of book or anything like that to tell your life story and or include domestic violence in your future?
What's interesting is I've always wanted to write my story
Hmm.
because it is interesting. I
You
think I would
should. It's
probably get
hella
a
Yeah,
I would get a ghostwriter, I think,
yeah,
to help out with that.
yeah.
And also I'm a writer myself. I'm actually a published writer.
Oh,
I wrote for a magazine in Los Angeles called The Immigrant Magazine
okay.
when they
Congrats.
first started and they were still in print. And I would go to the different cultural music events and cover those and just write about music.
Right,
So
right.
I'm actually published myself as
Okay,
a
congratulations.
journalist.
I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I
That's
would love to. I would love to have my story out again, only because the gems in there would help somebody else, not because I have nothing better to do than talk about myself.
yeah. I
I
yeah.
promise I do.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a fascinating story, and I think it needs to be, however you would frame it. I know it would be tasteful, and it would help people. I really do, because that's what you are. You're a light worker. Mark and I have this thing, and other light workers, and we talk about all light workers are coming together now. And especially have you dug up on, well, I always say dig up, but that's a Minneapolis Prince thing. You know that dig up on this, so you know what I'm talking about. But the
I do.
monks that are walking across the country, that's like deep. And I'm actually trying to link up. If I'm not traveling to Baltimore to perform, I'm trying. They're supposed to be coming through this area, North Carolina,
Oh,
somewhere
neat.
around the end of the month. But they're literally walking across the country because they realize the earth is in such a dark place. They're trying to crack this portal of light or darkness open with just a stream of light, and that's what they've been doing. And I find that they're on YouTube and this, that, and you can follow them. I just find it one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that people right now are under the impression that it's a war between the haves and the have-nots, right? And the wealthy and the poor. And the reality is it's way deeper than that.
Oh yeah.
It is good versus evil. I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is. It's how low can you go as a human being? How deep into the garbage that they give us and throw at us are you going to get into, or are you going to stand up and stand out for something? And
Yep.
so you have to stand for something. I think it's
Yes.
was it Rage Against the Machine? He said, "You
Yes.
settle for nothing now, you'll
Yeah.
settle for nothing later," right?
Yep. That's right. That's right.
Um, and that's the truest thing I've ever heard. So
One of my
yeah, I
favorite
think.
bands, by the way. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, was it? Yeah, light workers,
Yeah.
healers, elders, knowledge keepers. All of those people are starting to speak out. Um, Last year I wouldn't. Was it last year? This past 2 years, I wouldn't go on camera. I wouldn't go on live. I wouldn't go in front of a camera and speak. Period. At all. I hate cameras. And
Right.
every photo of me, except for a few, I took of myself because I don't like cameras that much.
Right.
And Johnny Taylor was like, it doesn't matter. He goes, you're doing this thing and they want to talk to you and they
Yes.
need to hear your story and they need to hear about you. And I was like, well, can I tell him without getting in front of the camera? And he said, not anymore. So you better just get with it.
Yeah, yeah. See, when we talked about that, you and I dig it because I've had Amy Lawrence from CBS Radio and Sports Talk, and she doesn't like it, and we got a picture. So, we accommodate our guests, because let's face it, we'll find out what you look like if we want to. You know what I'm saying? We'll get to you. So that's not an issue. But I just find it really cool that, you're that type of powerful woman and you still are able to relate to everyone, and that's not easy to do because we're, like you said, good versus evil. There's an energy, and I'm an empathic spirit, and I'm into feeling and reading other people's energy,
Yes,
literally. You
it's
know,
important. That's
yeah, and it's
important.
just so overwhelming sometimes, right? So that's why I have to study a lot of Buddhism and stay prayed up and meditate because I have to constantly purge out what I'm feeling. And
Well,
oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, no, go
No, I was
ahead.
gonna say, there's something else I'm paying attention to is just what you're consuming.
Hmm.
And
Yes,
it's not just talking about food, it's consume what you're listening to,
yes,
what you read, what you
yes.
scroll through, all of that affects us.
What you
And
say because it's called
Yeah.
spelling for a reason.
yes, I mean, you can jump on social media and see the wildest things
Yeah,
all day long,
yeah,
nonstop.
yeah,
Negative things, ugly things. So I'm
yeah,
trying to be more mindful about what I read, what I look at.
yes. Same. Yeah,
All of that matters. It really does affect you. I believe that it does.
yeah. It does. It does.
Thanks
Yeah.
for mentioning the podcast because that's my latest thing. So I
Yeah.
got the name. I started the clothing brand. Johnny Taylor had his own podcast live thing he was doing on Instagram for hip hop called Hip Hop Organics.
Hmm.
And I hopped on one time and they're like, "You were so much fun. Please come back on. We're bored." It was just three men talking. And so I started hopping on there every Monday because he asked me to. And I knew
Hmm.
the guys. So it was sort of comfortable. And I don't know how I transitioned from doing that to doing my own podcast, but it kind of opened the door for that. And now I just talk to people that I find interesting. They're not all necessarily celebrities or stars or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I just approach people that I find interesting. So I've had some artists on. There's a photographer I want to have on there. There's a brother from Africa who's making this beautiful, beautiful content and photography.
Mm.
And I had him on. And when I had him on, the power went out there.
Wow.
And so he was
We've had
talking
to,
to me in the dark on his
Right.
phone.
Right.
we've had to
And
deal with that even on the West Coast. Zach will tell you that there have been a couple of people. I want to say there's one from Oregon that we've had issues where the internet hasn't always wanted to work. So yeah, we have to deal with those things as well. But we just roll with it and make it happen no matter what's going on. But yeah, we've definitely had
That
those
is
yes,
true.
issues as
And,
well.
and he's right because every time we have this lady Lisa Gordon on, something happens. We've tried more than at least 3 or 4 times. Always something, and it's nobody's fault. I just think that where she is in that part of the world, the country, we can't get that direct connect like we need. Because I feel so bad when that does happen. Because
Mhm.
I'm like, I can't even help you, and then there you are with an hour and a half to fill.
well, no, I mean this brother was from he's from Nigeria, and
Right.
Uh-huh.
it happens often that they go without electricity in that
Yeah.
particular area. So he was used to it, but it dawned on me. I'm like, oh my gosh, like
Right.
that's a normal part of his life
Right. Right.
to
Right.
not
Right.
have electricity, and how blessed are we to have it? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It definitely hit home for me. I was like, I think when my Wi-Fi goes out, I'm having a bad day. This brother
Yeah.
doesn't have
Yeah.
power at all.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So
Yep.
yeah.
I agree. Before we get out of here, and we appreciate you hanging out with us, Amazon. Hour and a half goes by really, really fast. But there's something that Mark and I are very, very passionate about, and we always ask our guests. And I'll,
Mhm.
let Mark do a follow-up question. The homeless situation, because you're close to that when it comes to domestic violence and being homeless. But the homeless situation in this country, what do you think we can do as podcasters, content creators to just physically give people things? You're already doing it. You're donating your merch money to a organization that can help other people. But here in North Carolina, I'm from New York City,
Mhm.
Long Island, but I live here now 10 years. But here, I literally right like 5 minutes on the other side of the street. I got people burning wood fires in the rain. I got tents. I got a guy that sleeps underneath the gas station thing when it's closed. If when I come in, I may not like a lot of things, and then I'm like, oh man, but at least I'm not dealing with that, right? And it breaks my heart because I give them clothes and sneakers. I give them whatever I got because I don't have much. But
Right.
what do you think? Besides them trying to kill us all off as part of the problem, what do you think we can do?
You know, to get off subject, not just a drop. When I created Punkdemic, I actually didn't have a home in
Wow.
particular. I was going from couch to couch, living out of a suitcase, staying where I could at different people's houses. And I remember at one point I was feeling pretty down and pretty low. And then seeing the other people that were actually out there in the elements, in tents, um, having to go to the actual shelters and eat in the soup kitchens and things like that really, really touched me deeply at that time. Because I still appreciated that I had a couch, right?
Yeah.
Um, what dawned on me is there's a really thin line between having a home and not having a home.
3
Some
paychecks.
some people are one paycheck away
Yeah, right, right.
from that, right? So I think is besides the issue of them just being homeless, how do you prevent that one thin line between if I don't get this check today, I'm not going to have a home tomorrow. That's what really plagued me was like, how do you get out of that situation? What
Yeah.
can we do to prevent the line between I have a home and now I don't? Because a lot of those people at some point did have a place to live.
Yeah. They
Something
were regular
happened in their
people.
lives,
Yeah.
in their history that put them there, just like something happened in mine that put me there.
Same.
So I think there needs to be some change about how people view the homeless because I technically was homeless. That if you go through my timeline, there's a post where I got my first apartment and it's a suitcase and one little key. And I was like, I am so grateful for this key.
Yeah.
It wasn't a real apartment. It was a garage that someone turned into an apartment. And I mean, you would have thought I just got a mansion,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I know that it's deeper than just the economics of it. There's a lot of issues like mental health, drug addiction, all of those things that happen a lot too, as you see those people out there. But I think the main thing is to change how people view the homeless, or they say the houseless. Just their view, period. Those are not people that are beneath you, that are peasants and things like that. A lot of them are veterans that served in our military. Um, a lot of them have children, and life just turned on them to some
Yeah.
degree, or the system failed them at some place
Yes,
at some point,
exactly.
and they ended up there. If I hadn't found the shelter that I stayed in, right, where was I going to go at that point, right? I could have been one of those people easily. So I think it's a mindset of how you view those people, period, needs to change.
Yeah.
It needs to change. You know, a lot of places it's illegal to go out and feed the homeless. You can get in trouble for
I
doing that.
know that's crazy.
That's
That's
totally
crazy.
crazy and everything
Why
like
is that? Why
that.
is that? They don't deserve food. They're beneath us to some point, or what is that about, right?
Yeah.
S-
Yeah. That's
So,
crazy.
isn't it something?
Yeah.
So a lot of it is how you view them, period. You know what I mean? That they're not untouchables that are beneath us. They're
They're
human
human beings.
beings
Human beings, just like us.
that that
Yeah.
life just kicked them around at some point,
Yeah.
or they didn't get the help that they needed when they needed it, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I just, I don't cross the other side of the street when I see someone coming
Yeah.
with their basket.
Good for
I
you.
don't do that. Well, because it could have been me. It could have been you.
That's
Could
right.
have been.
It
Could
was
have
me
been.
for I know, believe me. Your story, I know. Trust me.
Yeah,
I know.
Yes.
you definitely know that story. We definitely had to get some relief, including from friends and everything like that, and all along those lines. So I was glad I was able to help in certain
Yeah, I
situations.
slept on Mark's floor. People don't even know that.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
he definitely did that and everything like that. You're I'm a uncle and don't have any kids of my own, but I do have my nephew that's getting ready to go off to college and he wants to get involved in activism, partially because his dad and my um, meaning my brother and his granddad were involved in such stuff as well and everything like that. So there are a lot of people are not paying or giving enough attention to our young people. So as a mother, how are you doing in terms of keeping your kids out of trouble, and what are you doing to make sure that they are going to be following in your footsteps? Because it sounds like you're a very active woman and you're doing a lot of very positive things, but you're also a mother. I don't know how many kids you've got, but you're definitely a mother. So I was just wondering, what are you doing to encourage the young people of the world?
I wish I could say that all of my children, I have 5 children, they're all adults at this point. My youngest just turned 21. I wish I could say that all of my children didn't get in trouble or didn't get caught up in things like drugs and so on, but that's not true. One of the things I'm learning as a parent is they don't always do what we want them to do. I'm learning that how your children turn out as adults is not necessarily a reflection of who you are as a parent.
That's right.
Um, I have 2 children that I can't speak to because they're out there on the streets and they don't listen to a thing I have to say. So what I do is I speak to the young people that will listen.
Yeah.
When I started Punkdemic, it was the first one was like a skater, and it was to reach out to the kids. And again, I'll get messages. Hey, this is going on. What's your take on it as an older person? I'm now officially an older person. Um, but it's to talk to whoever will listen. Every young person isn't gonna respect you as an older person and take your advice, but there's a few that will. So
Yeah.
if you can drop some knowledge on some that will listen, then you talk to anyone that will listen and receive your message to the best of your ability, right? um
It's
Children.
interesting. Yeah, it's interesting you say that because there was a gentleman that used to be here in this area about 8 years ago, and I don't know that Baba Chuck Davis had any kids, but there are a lot of people that will say that he was their father figure or their mentor figure and everything like that. So not every parent and not every person that is the person that is caring for you is necessarily your blood family. Zach mentioned that I wrote a essay. It was an essay from my friend Brian Showman, and that's actually what I wrote about was the notion of the soul family, because a lot of times the family isn't necessarily the family we're born into, but it's also the family that is a family that we are adopted into because we're like-minded and everything like that. So I'm already picking up that
Oh,
vibe from
that's
you, and that's part of what
that's
me and Zach connect on.
that's a beautiful concept. I love that idea. I find that the people that I'm closest to are not the people that I share blood with, unfortunately. Um, but I'm blessed to have them. I'm happy to have them. And yeah, you just have to pretty much be that light no matter what, no matter how you're feeling, no matter where you're at in life. Like I said, I started it couch hopping. I was not stable. I was not in a stable place. I was staying at a friend's house when I drew the design that's on that shirt for domestic violence. So no matter what my financial circumstances were or whatever, I just wanted to create something that would benefit someone else. And I think as long as you're on that path, you're going to be okay. You'll be okay. Because when I didn't have a place, there were people I had helped are the ones that opened their doors to me, right? Years later. Like, hey, I remember you did this thing for me. Yeah, you can stay here tonight.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to just keep shining that light. Share what you know, whatever it is, even if you only know a little bit about something, share
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, exactly. And and that's a problem. I was talking to somebody else about this, about in particular our people, we do not want to see anybody a situation happen with me with a music thing, and somebody cut my set short, and it was just I'm there doing them a favor, open mic thing. But it's the point. It could have been anything that I was doing. So why we are not pushing and lifting as we should, as culturally. Mark and I talk about this all the time. It drives us crazy, and I know
Me
it must
too.
drive you crazy too.
It's that crabs in the barrel mentality.
Yes, 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 yes,
I
yes.
mean, I believe, unfortunately, a lot of it has to do with our history
Yeah,
and that mindset of, I got to take care of myself only. It's about me and my family, and that's all that matters. And a lot
yeah,
of that was instilled in us during, part of our
yeah,
history. I
yeah,
think. I think that's where it comes from, to be honest with you. But at the same time, community is everything. Um, and if somebody has that mentality, you don't got to deal with them. Once they show
yeah.
you who they are,
That's
keep
right.
it pushing.
Right.
Don't deal with them anymore.
And
Keep
it's
keep
funny
it pushing.
because that's right. Because see, DNA travels from generation to generation, Just like, you know, you look like your grandmother or you got your grandfather's eyes, so too will you get their experiences sometimes. It's called, you know, comedic karma, and that stuff is real. So those of you that don't know that, you should read books on it and look it up, because a lot of times I tell young people, listen, the things you're experiencing, you may think you did something wrong. It's not even your fault. It could be something that your ancestors did that now you just have to manifest and deal with. Because I know that has personally happened to me, and I've had to do an extensive study on myself to separate what's mine and what I was carrying that was somebody
Yes.
else's from my, yeah. And it's a real
Yeah.
thing. You know what I'm talking about.
I do, 100%. It's real,
Yes.
100%. I mean, I've said and had some thoughts that I didn't even know where it came from, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, where did that come from?
Yes.
My grandmother.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Where did it come from? Her grandmother.
That's right. Because it
So
works both ways, positive and negative. Yes, right.
yes.
Those
So yeah,
ancestors,
that's 100% true. There's some
Yeah.
positive. It's interesting though how human beings we carry and focus mostly on
We
the
do.
negative, right?
We do.
On the
Yeah.
negative.
Yeah, yes, because see, we're energy, but at the same time, we all come from the one. So over centuries and centuries and you know, we're still carrying that, because that's why you can look like your great 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 grandmother, and you'll
Yes.
look exactly like her. That's DNA, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I recently found out something that I'm going to do a show about and share in the future. But you know, Mark knows a little bit about it, and I don't mind sharing with you because you're amazing. Like, I recently reconnected and found out I have more siblings,
Oh wow. Okay.
and I'll tell you about it privately, and then, you know, we'll talk about it. But yeah, and I'm freaked out. You
Are
know,
you?
no, not in a bad way, in a good way, because I always felt that I did, and I always told everybody I did.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, because I'm
I
adopted. So
yeah.
I always told people, listen, I know I got more people out here somewhere.
Oh, that's amazing that they
And
found
with that
you.
DNA thing that they got, that you could, you know, do the saliva, this, that, and the third. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
21
I
in me.
recently am finding this out.
Wow, that's really exciting.
That's deep, right? Yeah.
It's very
But we'll
exciting.
talk about it. I don't want to give too much away, but we'll talk about it. Is there? We're going to give you the last word. Mark, you have one last question for our guest before we give her the full screen and let her
No,
do her
just
thing, and then we get out.
well, just real quick question. As y'all were talking, I was thinking about another late person that had passed on some time back during the pandemic, and that was Andre Leon Talley, the fashion person, and he had gone through some
Yes.
abusive situations, including he was actually from here. He's from Durham, North Carolina, where I'm at, and where spent most of my life at, and all along those lines, where Zach is based at right now, and everything like that. But he talked about how during the pandemic he had gotten back into church and was finding peace through Harlem's Abyssinian Baptist Church, and that all his friends are church people. But then he had this quote that I found really interesting. It kind of was what you were just talking about. I'm going to read it and just wanted to hear your thoughts around it. But he said, and of course he's passed now. He said, "I'm grateful for my life, but I'm not happy for who I am. I want to continue to try and be kind and not cruel, but I've had a difficult life." He says he had the opportunity years ago to go to therapy for his abuse, because he was abused, and well, and wishes he would have. I have not been able to have any intimacy that is successful. I don't have intimacy with men or women. I am afraid to be touched. I still don't know who to trust. So it's that whole issue of trust and all along those lines. So I just wanted your
Sad,
thoughts
yeah.
around that, and your thoughts just around the trust issues that a lot of people are still facing.
Oh gosh, not a lot of people. This person, it, you know, as personable as I am, as kind as I am to others, I am a different person when I'm in an actual relationship with somebody. I'm talking about an intimate relationship with someone. I still battle with trust daily. I'm involved with a wonderful person right now. I'm very fortunate for that. Who's very patient with me. But I can go from being madly in love with you to I will never speak to you again and I will drive my car over you. And a lot of that comes from trauma, from how we acquire our defense mechanisms growing up. And it's unfortunate. People say that you can go through therapy and quote unquote get over abuse or domestic violence, but you never get over it. You carry it with you your whole life, and you just have to navigate through it learn how to handle it, learn how to work through it. I don't believe that you just get healed from it and you're fixed. I think that you carry that forever, and you have to navigate who you learn how to trust, who you let in, who you don't, and just who you want to be. I didn't want to be a damaged, angry, bitter Black woman. I just didn't want to be that person. So I work on it every single day.
Yeah, amen.
Every single day. You know? So yeah, trust is difficult, especially when you're carrying trauma and you've been through a lot. You got to work on yourself a lot. For the rest of your life, you got to work on yourself.
Well, thank you. It's been an amazing journey. We usually have a quote of the day. Sometime we do it, sometime we don't. But something you said about 10 minutes ago that I wanted to reiterate. Maya Angelou said, and I read a lot of her stuff. She's an amazing woman. My youngest daughter is actually named Maya. But she said, people may not remember your face, but they'll always remember how you made them feel.
Yes.
And let me tell you something. Today, you made us feel like, boom, because you just came on and crushed and crushed and crushed. And I'm so grateful to have you in my life. We'll be talking. I want to give you the full screen so you can take us out. Then I'm going to come back with a song. We're going to get out. Again, we've been hanging out with our amazing guest, Mr. Mark Lee, my producer, and this fantastic, beautiful queen from California was gracious enough to spend an hour and a half with us today and really dig in deep in some things. And this is part 1 of part 2, 3, 4, and 5. So
my goodness.
We're going to do some part. Yeah, this is how we do. First time guests. This is only part 1. We want you back, and we want you back because as with different information comes different changes. So as things change, we always want to stay current on the show. And we always love when we uplift women on the show. Mark and I both believe that. We both, affirm women are the most powerful people on the planet. A lot of men can't swallow that, but it's too bad. It's my show. I say what I want, right? so that's how I feel. And I don't say that because I got daughters. I say that because it's factual. It's a fact, right?
Absolutely.
If women were running the whole world right now, there'd be no war. We'd be just chilling. I'd be on the beach smoking a joint somewhere and just like, hey, man, look at the seagulls. You know what I'm saying?
That's a high possibility, actually.
Yeah, because women are nurturers. They don't want that, they may be a squabble or two here and there. But for the most part, men are just, I don't want to curse. It's a great show, and I made it through without cursing. But men are just out of their mind.
Hey, you did good. I don't think I've made it through one show without saying a curse word. I'm going to be real.
And some days, it's like F-bomb after F-bomb, and sometimes I'm just like, wait till you come on a few more times.
Oh, well, no, you know what I didn't mention is that
please do.
Punkdemic got picked up by iHeartRadio.
Really?
So I now have to monitor my language, and so yeah, that's been a whole thing. Like I literally get a lecture from Johnny Taylor before every recording now. Like, you can get one F-bomb and maybe one damn it, and that's it. And I'm like, okay, I'll do my best. Like
that is so awesome.
It's hard, yeah.
Congratulations. It is. And you know what's funny? When I have Peppermint Patty on, I never curse. If I
have Peppermint Patty on?
Yes, I did plenty of times.
Okay, so listen, I want to talk to Mr. Collins really badly. Like I adore that man. I'm not going to lie to you. So he's on my list. I have a list of people that I just want to talk to, and he's right on there.
Yeah, Boosie, he sent us a couple of years ago, congratulating us. But Patty, because I'm Club Funky Ambassador Vice President, so every now and then if I need something, Patty will hook it up. But she actually just started her own podcast called Is Anybody Out There? I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, it just started about a month or two ago. So I'm sure you can reach out to her that way. But what I'll do, I'll try to figure out a way to make some type of introduction via email or text, because that's kind of like how they do things, because they're always like with their foundation
of course
and the travel. So but we'll make something happen for sure.
Before you get to the moment of her solo and everything, I was just thinking she needs to get on her show those women veterans that are also regulars on your show as well, because you've done a couple of shows with those young ladies. And
you mean Cheryl and that whole gang, the woman of color of the military? Yeah, that
would be wonderful. I would love that.
Yeah, you would like them, because these are veteran Black women, and they all got like 20 plus years of service. Some of them
Oh,
are retired.
wow.
Yeah, and they have a organization within the service that they created. And I know Cheryl's sister's the chaplain, but they created just women of color to deal with military backlash, abuse in the military,
Oh, I would
housing
love
situation,
that.
domestic violence, I'm sure. So yeah,
I would love that.
Good idea, Mark. Good idea. We'll make that happen.
So what am I supposed to do when am I just supposed to talk about myself for the last minute of your show, or
No,
how does this?
I give you the full screen, right? And we always just have our guests say whatever's on their mind, because I want the lasting image of every show to be about the guests, right? We've talked about so many things and we're so grateful. But whatever you think, will help people, because I want you to be the last thing they see. So we started doing this a couple of years ago because it's like a personal thing. Like, you're the guest, we're just the host, and we want you to have the full currency of taking the show out, kind of like.
My goodness, we've talked about so much. I don't know.
So you do your thing.
What I would touch on now.
I'll know when you're done because I'll hear it. Okay, so all you, sweetie.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was what was going on. Honestly, I just want to say how grateful I am to be here, to have this conversation, to be in the position to talk to these gentlemen about the topics we've talked about today. I want people to take away a sense of gratefulness. Always be grateful for what you do have. Please don't focus on what you don't have. And if you can help someone else to any degree, by all means, do that. Just do it. When you hear that voice in your mind that says, hey, maybe I should give this person my coat, or I should pull over and give them this food, don't second guess yourself. Listen to that voice and do it. Just do it. That sounds like a Nike commercial. That's all I have to say about that. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And my audience, you guys, we appreciate you. Again, smash that like button. Funk from the Front Seat, Not on the Grind TV, every Saturday at 12 p.m. and on the West Coast, 9 a.m. And please be on the lookout for Amazon and all the beautiful things that she's doing. And you can find her, look at the bottom of the screen, and you can see her scroll there as far as her Facebook stuff and also her Instagram. So you can see that. And please, support in your area anything that you can do, like Amazon just said, to try to make the world a better place. Peace, love, and harmony. We appreciate everybody, and we love all you guys, and we'll see you guys next Saturday with a very, very, very special guest. We're going to have Mian Bryant on next Saturday, and she's a sign language musician, teacher, and all that good stuff. So she's going to talk about some of the things that she's doing. And Amazon, for now, ta-ta for later, but we'll see you in a little bit, because we're going to have you back on, because there's so many things that I need to ask you, and so many things that I want to pick your brain about, because with different information comes different things. So we appreciate you, sweetie. Thank you so much. You have a great day. All right.
You too. Thanks for having me.
All right, great. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Hey, yo, man, what time is it? You know what time it is, man. 2 a.m.? Yeah, man. Man, you know what? What's up? It's 8:46, bro. Wow, that's deep. Yeah, you know what time that is. Yeah, man. Nappy head. Yo. Funk Army. What's up? Stand up. Get in line, y'all. Come on, drop that beat. You know what we gotta do. Yeah, man. We bringing this funk just for you. Repeat after me. Say, you don't have to be the best, just gotta outlast the rest. You don't have to be the best, you don't, just gotta outlast the rest. You don't have to be the best, just gotta outlast the rest. You don't have to be the best, just gotta outlast the rest. Unite. United we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever beat against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. I'ma say that again for you. United we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever beat against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. Here we go, y'all. Now let me tell you a little story about United we stand. It says we're gonna funk across this funkless land. We gon' stand up and let our voices be heard. We ain't gonna let nobody stop us from spreading the spiritual word. The ruthless corporate greedy don't give a damn about the needies. We need everybody in the house to join us on this one, all right? Y'all say, united we stand, divided we fall. Should our backs ever beat against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. Are y'all out there? You feeling me? United we stand, come on, y'all. Divided we fall. Should our backs ever beat against the wall, we'll be together until the jam is done. Yeah. Check. 1, 2, 1, 2. United we stand, divided we fall. Funkin' with the poor people most of all, as they poison our mind with food control. Third eye is wise, sacrifice. Wake up and see what they doing to you and me. Keeping a separate product of Illuminati, like the jail cell did my boss John Gotti. Dirty politics and high-priced prostitution reside in all the important positions. Just look around at the injustice in the world. Some forced to live in a deplorable conditions. Watch us, watch what we do. This rap is coming up just for you. So sit back, relax, check out our funk calls. The nappy hip-hop car be always bumping in your truck. Twitter, tweet, the TikTok. The ruthless corporate greedies don't give a damn about the needies. A movement, genocide and homicide is happening all around the world. Promise me this, promise me that.